Hello students. Today we are learning a new technique of synthesis of nanoparticles, and the name of technique is hydrothermal or solvothermal synthesis. Okay, so basically we are trying to learn different techniques in which we are synthesizing the nanomaterials in the form of powder or thin film using a bottom up approach. Okay, so hydrothermal or sorothermal synthesis is a technique where the nanoparticles are going to form using a bottom up approach. Okay, so let us try to understand, okay, what is hydrothermal or solvothermal synthesis. Okay, as far as the names are concerned, okay, the basic principle of synthesis of nanoparticles in hydrothermal and sorothermal method is remains same. However, there is some change in the type of solvent which we are going to use, and depending upon which type of solvent we are using, in order to differentiate the solvents, we are using different name as hydrothermal and solvothermal methods. Okay, so let's try to understand this technique in detail. So hydrothermal reactions have been developed in the 19th century. So you see, this is a very old technique by which the scientists are able to prepare the materials, okay, of different families, okay, using this hydrothermal synthesis. So objective is to prepare geomaterial like microscopic quartz crystal. So initially the peoples are interested in the family of geomaterials, okay, and very specifically, people are interested, okay, scientists was interested in the synthesis of quartz crystals. Okay, so if you want the quartz crystals, okay, in the form of a single crystal formation, and that time they was not interested in nanomaterials, so in that case they was using the hydrothermal method. Okay, so we have to use the terminology hydrothermal when we are using solvent as hydro. So hydro represents H2O molecule, that is water. Okay, so if you are using solvent as a water, and if you are making the materials using this technique, then you have to call this technique as hydrothermal synthesis. Second point is, instead of water, if someone use in and solvent which is different than the water, okay, like ethanol, methanol, okay, or some sort of other solutions, okay, but it do not contain water, then it is called as a solvothermal synthesis, solvothermal technique. Okay, so if we try to define this technique, then we define in this way: a hydrothermal oblique solvothermal reaction can be defined as a chemical reaction. So basically in all these synthesis techniques, the, the formation of material is taking place by some chemical reactions. So chemical reactions between precursors. Okay, so precursor, if you want to prepare zinc oxide, then you have to use some zinc nitrate or zinc acetate, okay, or zinc chloride. Okay, so that kind of precursors you can use. You can use these precursors, you have to dissolve in some sort of solvent. So solvent can be either water or other than water in a closed system at a temperature higher than the boiling temperature of water or boiling temperature of solvent and under high pressure. Okay, so if you see carefully, you will realize that basically we are initiating the chemical reaction at some pressure and temperature. Okay, and when pressure will be generated, if the system is in a closed vessel. Okay, if the system is in a closed vessel, then if you increase the temperature, okay, then the pressure inside the system is going to change. So this is a basic thermodynamics which is taking place in this type of reaction. Okay, so thermal basically represents, okay, a temperature, and if you increase the temperature, okay, then the pressure of the solvent or the pressure inside the closed vessel is going to change. So in that particular condition, there is a chemical reaction take place, and that chemical reaction is basically initiate the nucleation and growth process of the materials. So hydrothermal synthesis is used for oxide nanoparticle synthesis as the stability is high in the alkaline medium. So if you take the family of materials, then there is different types of materials like metal oxides. Okay, so this is the most stable material in the alkaline medium. Okay, and therefore most of the time metal oxides like zinc oxide, titanium oxide, okay, tin oxide. Okay, so these type of materials are are possible to synthesize using a hydrothermal synthesis technique. Bomb or autoclave is heated above boiling point of solvent. Now, what we call as a closed system, okay, that if you want that kind of a system, then you have to use a specific um, a specific volume of the container, which you have to call as a bomb or autoclave. Okay, so bomb or autoclave is heated above boiling point of solvent. Okay, so during this entire lecture, I request all of you to imagine this situation where we are dealing it in our day-to-day life. Okay, so try to imagine, okay, that our mothers, our family members are daily using this hydrothermal technique for cooking purpose. Okay, so if you see carefully, okay, then in everyone's house there is a pressure cooker. Okay, and what is the importance of this pressure cooker? Okay, so it is given in our school days, in the syllabus they have already taught us that if you use a pressure cooker, okay, then you are able to save the energy and time. Okay, so if you are cooking a rice, okay, and if you put that same amount of rice in an open vessel, okay, and another same amount of rice if you try to cook in the pressure cooker, you will find that a pressure cooker will cook the rice in a less time, okay, and in less amount of energy. Okay, if the vessel is open, Okay, if you are using if you are cooking it in an open vessel, then it will get cooked, but for sure it will take longer time and longer amount of heat energy. Okay, so if you keep this phenomena in your mind, then you are able to understand that there are some materials which are not easily possible to synthesize in the normal atmosphere. Okay, so for that you need to achieve a very high temperature. Okay, so if you want to reduce the temperature, then you have to use some closed vessel like a bomb or autoclave, where in the lower temperature you generate a very high pressure, and the high pressure and temperature, okay, will initiate the reaction which needs a very high energy. Okay, so basically this is the uh, fundamental approach behind using this hydrothermal or solvothermal method. So hydrothermal synthesis involves the chemical reaction of materials in the presence of both temperature and pressure, because we are using a bomb or autoclave. Okay, and there is some solvent uh, which is used to dissolve the precursor. Okay, and then that kind of system is we are kept in a furnace where we are increasing the temperature, and then you will realize that the temperature and pressure both are responsible to initiate the chemical reactions between the precursors. So conventional oven is used to maintain the temperature. Okay, so once you keep the autoclave inside a furnace or a oven, okay, then you can maintain the temperature as per the requirement for the synthesis of these nanomaterials. Is it useful for nano? Yes. So oxides like TiO2, Fe2O3, okay, MnO2, okay, this type of oxides can be easily prepared. In addition to these, layered oxides, nanowires, nanotubes, carbon quantum dots, so all other kind of materials and with different morphologies are possible to synthesize with the help of hydrothermal method. So you have to remember that the hydrothermal method must be always carried out in a closed vessel, in a autoclave, in a bomb. Okay, so this is the requirement of this method. So if you have a closed vessel where you are able to maintain the temperature and pressure, okay, then you are able to synthesize this material using this technique. So as far as okay the hydrothermal synthesis is concerned, it is necessary to understand the thermodynamics of water. Okay, so here you can see there is a phase diagram, basically which is represented on the left hand side. Okay, so that is called as the critical temperature of water. Okay, so that is we are trying to understand with the help of this diagram. So before going directly to critical point, let us try to see okay what this diagram is. So the x-axis of the diagram represents the temperature. Okay, so x-axis is representing the temperature. So as you are moving from the origin, okay, away from the origin, the temperature of the system is going to increase. The y-axis of this graph is represented with the pressure. Okay, so initially when temperature is at room temperature, okay, when the temperature is constant, okay, the temperature is 0, the pressure is 0. Okay, and as you are increasing the temperature, then what happens? The pressure is also increases. Okay, and then a point come where we call it as a triple point of water. So this is a well, you all are aware about this triple point of water, where the solid, liquid and gas of the water all are present at this point. Okay, so we are not going to spend a lot of details in that. So further, if you see, so the corresponding temperature of the triple point is called as the triple point temperature, and the corresponding pressure is represented as the triple point pressure. Above triple point temperature, if you further increase the temperature, okay, then you will realize that depending upon the pressure, the water can exist in vapor or liquid or compressible liquid. Okay, and then a point come where, okay, we call this as a critical point of water. Okay, so that is what we are trying to understand in this slide. So the critical temperature of a substance can be defined as the highest temperature at which the substance can exist as a liquid. Okay, so this is the highest temperature where the substance can present in the liquid phase. So if you can see that below this critical point, there is a region where the liquid phase is present, but above this critical point temperature, the water will be either present in the gaseous phase or it will be present in the supercritical fluid, but that phase is depend upon the pressure of the system. If the pressure of the system is below a certain below a certain pressure, then the water is present in the gaseous phase. But if the pressure is high enough, then that gaseous phase of water is get converted into supercritical fluid. Okay, so that is what is the important point where we are going to use where we are trying to understand the presence of water at different the phase of water at different pressures. So at temperature above the critical temperature, the substance in its vapor or gaseous state can no longer be liquefied regardless of the amount of pressure applied to it. So as I said, if the amount of pressure is sufficiently low, then the water is present in the gaseous phase, but if you want to liquefy it, then you have to apply a certain amount of pressure so that it will get converted into a supercritical fluid. The critical pressure of substance is the pressure that must be applied in order to liquefy that substance at its critical temperature. So if we are specially talking about supercritical fluid, then supercritical fluid, if you want to achieve that state, then the temperature should be above the critical temperature, and the value of pressure should be above the critical pressure. So in that case only there is a formation of supercritical fluid. Okay, so above critical pressure, the gaseous phase of liquid get converted into supercritical fluid. As an example, if you take water as a solvent, okay, and if you want to achieve the supercritical state of the water, then the temperature should be above 374 degrees centigrade and the pressure should be above 217.7 atmosphere of pressure. Okay, so at that condition, the water will be in the present of the water will be present in the phase of supercritical liquid. So hydrothermal methods utilize water under pressure. See, this is very important. Okay, so hydrothermal methods utilize water under pressure and at temperatures above its a normal boiling point to speed up the reactions between solid. Okay, so the temperature in hydrothermal should be above its a boiling point. Okay, hence in most hydrothermal synthesis the temperature and the pressure are kept below critical point. Okay, so in most of the hydrothermal synthesis the temperature and pressure are kept below the critical point. We should not go, if you are using a hydrothermal method, you should not go above 374 degrees centigrade or the pressure which is above 218 atmosphere. Okay, so we have to always keep lower than the critical temperature and critical pressure of water. Okay, so this is why the pressure and temperature relations of water should be kept in such a way that the volume must remain constant. It is an essential factor. Now volume is an important factor, okay, and we are going to keep the volume as a constant parameter, okay, because the volume of the autoclave or volume of the bomb or volume of the hydrothermal autoclave is remains constant, and that is the required, because we have to monitor, we have to tune the sufficient amount of temperature and pressure to got the certain situation where the chemical reactions between the precursors is initiated. So here in this slide, basically on the right hand side, what you can see is a bomb or autoclave, and it is a special name which is called as a Teflon lined stainless steel autoclave. Okay, Teflon lined stainless steel autoclave. So this is a very common type of an autoclave which is used for the synthesis of materials in most of the laboratories. So if you carefully see, okay, then the photograph is represent how it looks like, but on the right hand side you can see the schematic where it contains several parts. Okay, so from bottom you can see there is a bottom disc, then there is a vessel body. Okay, so they are made up of stainless steel. Then inside that there is a Teflon liner. Okay, then there is a Teflon lid. Teflon lid is just to close the Teflon liner. Then there is a pressure plates, and there is a spring, and then you can screw it up so that uh, you can close it very safely. If you open it out, okay, then the different parts are shown in the below photograph, where you can see that you have these different parts of the autoclave, and then the white colored, okay, Teflon liner, basically you have to insert your precursor which is dissolved in water or some sort of solvent, and then you have to fill that Teflon liner, and then that Teflon liner you have to insert inside this stainless steel body, and then you have to close it. Okay, so this is a general representation of this autoclave. Okay, how it looks like. Okay, as far as I said, okay, here there is an important parameters are discussed that you have to take care if you want to synthesize some material. So the reactants are dissolved or placed in water or another solvent. If you use another solvent, then we have to call it that as a solvothermal method in a closed vessel or a bomb, as I have just discussed with you. Normally, steel autoclaves with Teflon liner to avoid contamination from the steel are used. Now this is very common and important thing is that, so see, if you uh, in your normal day-to-day life, you are, as I said, you are using a pressure cooker, but you are not using some Teflon liner there. You are just using uh, aluminum based pressure cooker. Okay, but because basically what we are using is an organic food, and it is not going to react, okay, with the surface of the metals. Okay, but here we cannot use stainless steel as a direct vessel as for the synthesis of these nanomaterials or synthesis of materials, because lot of materials are there which are basically, they start to react with the stainless steel, because the stainless steel is basically made up of iron and carbon system. Okay, and the iron is easily, at particular temperature and some certain pressure is there, so there is a possibility that the iron or carbon is either diffusing in your material. Okay, so in order to use it multiple times and to avoid the contamination of impurities in the synthesis products, the Teflon liner plays an important role. So it is essential to use a Teflon liner for the synthesis of during the synthesis of hydrothermal um, synthesis of materials using hydrothermal method. So the pressure and temperature dependence of water for different degrees of filling of the autoclave during hydrothermal synthesis. Now here it is very important to notice that the pressure and temperature dependence of water for different degrees of filling. Now here different degrees of fillings of autoclave. So you have a Teflon liner of, let us say, 25 ml. Okay, so imagine you have a Teflon liner of 25 ml. So maximum water which you can insert in the Teflon liner is 25 ml. Okay, so that is 100 percent filling of that Teflon liner. Okay, so that is, if you do that, then what happens? There is no generation of pressure, because you have fully fully filled that Teflon liner, and there is no space for the generation of pressure. So that's why a filling factor which is normally below 80%, below 90% is important, is important to fill below 80 or 90% of the volume. Okay, so a filling factor normally below 80% sufficient to give the necessary pressure is used filling. Okay, so the moderate temperatures between 100 degrees centigrade and 300 degrees centigrade are applied, meaning that the hydrothermal conditions are below the supercritical region of water. Okay, so that is the reason, as I said, the temperature should be always the critical point of water. Okay, so moderate temperature, so see, water is boiling at an above 100 degrees centigrade. Okay, so we have to go minimum 100 degrees centigrade. Okay, maximum you have to go 300 degrees centigrade, and you can vary this temperature, okay, whether 100 to 300 degree centigrade, depending upon the situation. Okay, so one of the situation is discussed here, so you have to look it at here carefully. This is very important graph, where you can see that this graph has a x-axis which is temperature, the unit is degree centigrade. Okay, the y-axis is pressure and the unit is bar. Okay, now you see there are different lines. Okay, which each line is representing some volume like 10%, 20%, 30%, 40%, 50, 60, 70, 80 and 90. Okay, so what is important is that I wanted to take your attention is that this 10%, 20%, 30%, these numbers are basically representing the filling percentage of the Teflon liner. So how much Teflon liner you have filled? Okay, how much Teflon liner you have filled? If you have filled the Teflon liner ab- above the above the you know 50%, then okay, then you can see that the critical temperature is increasing. Okay, for 80%, for 90%, the critical temperature is less. You got it? Okay, so there is a relation, okay, for that. So what is important is that, so if you are feeling 90%, then you have to keep it at lower temperature. Okay, you have to keep it at around 150 degrees centigrade. Okay, but if you fill it with 70% of the Teflon liner, then you have to increase the temperature, which is around 280 degrees centigrade. Okay, so better to keep it at 80%. So most of the situations are recommend to use the filling of that precursor and liquid in the Teflon liner is 80%, where the temperature will remain moderate, which is around 220 or 225 degrees centigrade. Okay, so if you want to know more about this explanation, then you can refer this paper, which is written by Mary Ann Inarsud. Okay, and he has published it in the Chemical Society Review in the year 2014. The volume is 43, and the page number of this paper is 2187 to 2199. Okay, so they have given briefly about this hydrothermal technique. Okay, so the autoclave is heated either by placing it in an oven or by using microwaves. So heating can have a different waves. You can use a normal oven, or there is some special situation where you can use microwaves, okay, for the heating process. But in that case, you have to use different type of autoclave. The stainless steel autoclave will not work there. So in most of the common laboratories, the Teflon lined stainless steel autoclave is kept in a normal conventional oven. Normally, the reaction times can vary from hours to couple of days as per the requirement of the system. So whether which type of material you are synthesizing, okay, which type of solvent you are using, which type of precursor you are using, okay, so all these parameters are there, and that is the reason that you have to optimize at what time, okay, and at what temperature this material is going to synthesize. Okay, after cooling of the autoclave, okay, so once the time is completed, then you have to allow some time for cooling, okay, because there is a lot of pressure in the autoclave and it is not safe to open it when it is hot. So normally you have to wait for the cooling of the autoclave, and the product is separated by filtration and further requires washing step, because your byproducts will also remain in the same. So it is necessary to wash your product for several times. The phase composition, okay, phase composition means which type of material you are preparing, okay, Fe2O3, Fe3O4, which type of phase you want to prepare. That phase composition, morphology of the product depends on critical parameters like the type of precursor you are using, what is the concentration of the precursor in the solvent, what is the pH, as well as the process parameters like reaction time and temperature. So all these parameters you have to optimize, and then you can tune the size and shape of the material by using these various parameters. So this is all about the hydrothermal or solvothermal method, and this is the advantages and disadvantages of the hydrothermal method. So the in advantages you can see the synthesis of novel material is possible. Okay, easy and relatively cheap. Okay, low temperature sintering process because very high pressure and temperature is there. So the material which you need to prepare by, if you are preparing with solid state reaction method, it will take 1100 degrees centigrade. The same material you can prepare at 100 degrees centigrade, 100 degrees 150 degrees centigrade, depending upon the type of material. Thin film deposition is also possible. Okay, so in that case what you have to do, you have to insert the precursor, like suppose you want to prepare the zinc oxide thin films, then what you have to do is you have to use this zinc oxide, zinc nitrate or zinc acetate as a precursor. You have to dissolve it in the solvent, and when you are filling it in the Teflon liner, you have to you can just insert some substrates on which you want the thin films. Okay, the substrates can be either glass or okay, or any kind of FTO or ITO. Okay, now so such kind of substrates you are able to keep inside, and then you, when you perform the hydrothermal reaction, you will realize that there is a deposition of the material is on the substrate is take place. There are several disadvantages are also there. The first is the difficult to control morphology and size. So the morphology and size, if you are not taking enough precaution for maintaining the temperature or the time or the initial concentration, then it is may possible that you will get different morphology and size. Okay, so it is because this system is very sensitive to temperature and pressure. Even a 20-30 degree fluctuation in the temperature may get a change in a lot of pressure inside, which will dynamically change the formation of the nucleation and growth of the nanomaterial. Not for all materials. So there are certain class of materials which we may not be able to use this technique for the synthesis of that class of materials, but most of the metal oxides are used can be synthesized by using this technique. May obtain variation in size, as already said, because if you keep it for 3 hours, and if you are not maintaining exactly 3 hours, and sometime it become 2 hours, sometime it become 4 hours, then the size of the material may get changed. A big disadvantage is that explosion of reactor is possible if handled carelessly. Okay, so if you don't tight it properly, okay, or if you tight it unevenly, then there is a lot of pressure is inside, which may come out, and there may be an explosion inside the oven. So the hydrothermal solutions either acidic or alkaline at higher temperatures and hazardous to human beings. So basically there are certain fumes which can generate at higher temperature and pressure, and for that is necessary to take out these fumes through some exhaust system. Okay, now there may be leakage, may cause an issue which can affect the final product. So if there is a leakage, then that even if you maintain the temperature, that enough pressure is not generated, and because of that your quality of the product may come down or may get vary. Okay, so this is all about the hydrothermal synthesis of the materials. I hope you understand what this material is, what is the principle behind making this material, okay, and what precautions we have to take, and how we can use it for the synthesis of nanomaterials. So we will stop here. Thank you so much.